Hey, Grand Rapids, West Michigan. I wanted to jump on here real quick. If you don't know me, my name is Neiko Guillory. I am the partner and founder in Neikos Fence here in Grand Rapids, up in the Northview area. So I wanted to quick show you guys a couple of different kind of cool things. So we've been constantly working on continuous improvements inside and out of the company. And one thing that we've really established and understand is trying to figure out how to best systemize some of these custom projects that our Grand Rapids communities are looking for. One specifically is the back 40 barrier. It's like a modern day deer fence, which has a goat and sheep panel. So what's commonly referred to as hog panels is actually sheep and goat panels. These have if I'm not mistaken, a 12 gauge, 10 or 12 gauge mesh, and it's welded wire. So you have a 4x4 square built into everything. So you can see right here in D, sheep goat panel, 4 foot high by 90.5 inches wide, 4x4 square mesh. The piece here, like this is the actual design, the specs of what this fence looks like. What I'm probably going to do is tag a video or rather a photo down below as well to show you what the finished product looks like, with the caveat that the mesh is tighter fitting according to the specs. Okay, but I want to showcase this product specifically because this is super cool of what we are capable of doing. We have these drawings. Yes, they're hand drawn. We're working on AutoCAD and SolidWorks CAD drawings so we can get a more professional finish. But these are for our teams to use professionally and use for the actual construction of every single fence that we do. This is one of the most custom fences that we currently build at the moment. We have plenty of other options that we're capable of doing, but we want to make sure that we can deliver you the best quality product the first time, because there's nothing more annoying to our clients or even us in general if we install, and then something's not quite installed to exactly what you're looking for as our client. So in order to kind of circumvent and cut down on those callbacks, we want to make sure that our installers know exactly how to build this and to what degree of professionalism we need to have built into every single square inch of this fence build. So this is kind of an effort towards continuous improvement to try and deliver that high quality product and experience to you, our Grand Rapids community. So first and foremost, you've got up top the actual build list. So you need specific dimensions of what the overall back 40 barrier is going to be. So 8 foot wide or 8 foot on center, and then 4 foot 6 inches tall. We have the option to bring that a little bit lower to 4 foot, but with how the construction of this is built, we are able to build this inside the Grand Rapids city according to the specs that the city ordinance dictates. And with this, it can go in your front yard, so your primary front yard or even your secondary front yard, because it meets those standards set forth inside of the city's ordinance plan. So for us, when we do this, we are meeting those standards for one, and that's what it's constructed to be. So first and foremost, we have to build the box. So if you don't already know, we do the iDrive power system fence installation method. So what that means is this purple post, this is the pipe, is driven over 4 foot deep. Because this is an 8 foot long post, we have only 3.5 foot exposure from above grade on this specific fence. The name barrier is not a misnomer. It is a true fact. This thing is so strong, it will most likely stop a truck in its tracks if it was to hit one of these pipes. I can almost guarantee it. I've not tested it, but I've got a pretty good feeling that this thing would stop a truck. Okay, because the pipe itself is a Schedule 40 or a PT 40, so you know what that means. It's over 30,000 pounds of shear force. So it requires a lot of force to try and break that pipe, especially when we have that much leverage around that 8 foot tall post and only 3.5 foot out of the ground. Anyway, so the boxes are built in a way to fit over that pipe, and then we come back to pin nail everything together. And there's some installation techniques that we have to apply, like the ins and outs, left and rights, so you get a level and plumb fence system so it looks pleasing to the eye. Okay? There's some techniques built into that, but overall, this is just the loadout of the materials list in case you decide that you want to try and DIY this type of fence. Then we've got the top and bottom frames. of your 2x4s. So you got the top 2x4 and the bottom 2x4 in red here. All right, I'll zoom in for you. So in red, you've got the top 2x4 and the bottom 2x4. The bottom 2x4 is toe-nailed, but we can get away with that because we have more friction points, or rather attachment points, between the inside wings. We call this the wings. It's a ripped 2x4 into 2x2s. So it allows us to introduce cross graining. I'll get to the cross grain here in a moment. But we have toe-nailed 2x4 in the bottom frame. And then this 2x4 sits on the inside of the post. So you've got 2x4s on the inside, built up to, and the picket actually extends past that another 1.5 inches to cover that that horizontal runner 2x4. All right. Then that's the top frame. That's the bottom frame. Side wings. So we've got 4 inside and top and bottom side wings, or rather wings for the fence installation. So this yellow here, these are 2x2s, so ripped 2x4s. We have them sitting on the inside between the posts and the mesh. So if the mesh is you and me here, the 2x2s sandwich that mesh into place, so it creates a structured system. That welded wire is quite strong, so I'm not too concerned that if someone was to try and punch it out, it's gonna hold really well, especially when sandwiched together with those 2x2s and frame nailed into each other. Okay. These 2x2s on the sides and the top and the bottom are frame nailed, so over 3-inch ring shank galvanized nails are directly nailed into either the post frame or the top and bottom rails themselves, introducing what's called cross graining. Cross graining allows you to prevent warpage from those 2x2s or 2x4s or anything like that. If we have a paired system working incongruent to each other, then it's going to actually introduce forces to prevent that twisting and turning. Okay. Next, we've got the goat sheep panel. We've already covered this, but this is in gray. These are 4x4, so 4-inch by 4-inch cross-section panels. Well, the welded wire meet each other, right? And they're tack welded together. And then this sits in between our 2x2s. Like I said, the mesh gets sandwiched between the 2x2s. And whenever we build this out, we do the inside, or rather the inside of the fence, the back side of the post. We get the backer wings installed there. And then we come back and cut fit the mesh itself, temp staple everything into place. And we come back through with the outside finished picture frame 2x2s to finish out that sandwich method. Okay. And then talk about the loadout of the Schedule 40 or PT40 pipe. It's a 2 3/8 nominal diameter and it's 8 foot long. Okay. Specifically Schedule 40. Like if you go to Stevens Pipe and Steel here in Grand Rapids, over in Wyoming, if I'm not mistaken, you've got a Schedule 20, a 30, a 40, and you can go all up to 50, 60, and larger. But Schedule 40 we found to be just the right number. It's not so strong that it's going to outperform every other aspect of the fence. And it's also not too light where it's just going to fold over like a Schedule 20 and even a Schedule 30. If under the right conditions, it will break over. Because the number one issue that we're trying to overcome when it comes to an iDrive system is that extrusion point or the connection point right above the grade. If it's a wood fence, at the grade or right below grade 1 to 2 inches, that post rots off and falls over in 10 to 15 years. ASTM, American Standard for Testing Materials, is a 15-year lifespan, no more. So that wood post is supposed to expire in 15 years or less. If it's set in concrete, we found that it can be dramatically less, like 5 years minimum. So there's a potential for that. That's why we introduced the iDrive power system to eliminate those potential issues. Same thing with aluminum and vinyl fence. You have extrusion points at the bottom of the rail. So imagine this is a vinyl post. We have extrusion points for those top and bottom rails to actually fit into the post. So at those extrusion points is the weak spot. If it's a hollow post, a 5x5 post is completely hollow from the ground to the top of the fence, the weak point is at that extrusion point for the rail to slide in. So by introducing a driven system, we take that extrusion point, that's the weak point, and it's no longer an issue because we've extended that strength of the pipe itself, or rather the strength of the post, further up the line of where that failure point is. The failure point now becomes the outside thickness of the actual post itself. And the post itself's thickness is strong enough to the point where it will take the post will not blow out, it will not fail. What's going to end up happening is you're going to find that the pickets on the inside, the fill between the top and bottom rails and the post, those will blow out. What's great about that is during high wind scenarios like a hurricane, if those blow out, that means there's no more resistance or air resistance that's causing the fence to fail. So if the fence doesn't fail because the blowout happens, we could just come back, pull off the top rail, fill in the back pickets, put back on the top rail, and you're fixed. The number one issue when trying to repair some of these fences is whenever the post fails, bends over, and we have to pull that post up to replace it with a concrete slug. It's a lot of work, a lot of hard digging, but if the system doesn't fail and the blowout happens, it's a super easy fix. Most of the time, we could just come back to warranty it and don't even need to charge labor for that. All right, and then finally we have F. So F is our very top piece. This is an optional item, but I highly suggest just moving forward with it because it gives it such a nice finish. This is a 2x6 by 8 foot long piece of wood. And it introduces a nice finish, a top cap to the actual back 40 barrier itself. So it looks very clean after the fact. And then some options that we can go in either direction. We can use treated pine, or we can use cedar materials for all of it. And then we've also got black or galvanized mesh that we can use inside of the system here as well. So that's why it's gray. It can be either the gray galvanized mesh, or it can be black, powder coated or vinyl coated black. Then, last but not least, the other option that you could do in this is a pre-stained lumber material. So we at Neikos Fence do a pre-stained wood option. If you haven't already found out, but our sales rep has had a conversation with you, if you haven't already talked to us, please do. We would love to have a conversation. But we've partnered with a great local painting company here in Grand Rapids, and they're literally our neighbors at the shop. So we utilize their services to do in-house staining, so we can stain our product before we even come out to install. And this does a couple of things for you. One, it reduces the liability, the fact that whenever a painter or staining company comes out to spray the fence, then there's a liability issue of staining the house, staining the neighbor, staining the neighbor's dog, getting stain on a car, especially if we have just a kick up of wind from 2 miles an hour to 5 or 8 miles an hour, it'll carry that stain a long ways. So there's a high liability associated with that. So by us being able to do a pre-stain, not only are we reducing the risk of potentially damaging some of your property or your neighbor's property, but we can also reduce your cost because our liability has gone down, and we have a bit more convenience to be able to deliver a higher quality product before we even get out to your site. And the reason we're able to offer a higher quality product because of this is whenever we pre-stain, we do not get any of the stain on the mesh itself. So if we come back after the fact, we have to stain in all the nooks and crannies. It takes a longer period of time. It's a lot more work to try and stain after the fact. So it's something to consider. You got pine, cedar, black or galvanized mesh. You've got pre-stain and post-stain options. But this is one of those it's a gorgeous fence once installed. It's very much a modern deer fence. Very unique to the Grand Rapids and West Michigan area. We have not seen this style of fence built in a fashion that we are doing it ever. So if you are interested in it, we would love to have a conversation. There is a 6 foot tall variant as well, 6 foot tall by 8 foot wide. We have built those in the past, and we are currently building one as we speak. So I will have some of those updated photos here in the very near future as well. If you email us, it's going to be neikog@fencescape.com, or you can even email Shane, my business partner, shane@fencescape.com. And then you've also got our business email, info@fencescape.com, and our business line is 616-816-4552. All right, thanks again, everyone. I hope to see you in the near future. And I hope this was helpful. See ya.